Okay, you're just gonna start recording?
And I'm recording.
Okay, welcome everybody. Like I said, we're gonna spend some time talking about the core body and being one with the heart of the earth tonight. And the core body is, I think, extremely interesting, and I love my core body. It's my first feeling. I understand though that Claudia has a question about portal sailing. That's what we did last time we met. Now, 3 weeks ago, I guess. So why don't we start with that?
Thanks, Jaentra. I was just wondering if you could do a quick review of the protocol for portal sailing, because I know when we did it last time, you ran through all the chakra bodies, or all the chakras.
I did, just to remind you. Yeah.
Go ahead.
I did that to remind you of how deep the healing was going to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so my question is, when you're going to use it, say in your everyday, use a portal or different portals in everyday life, and you're not necessarily, you don't have the time to go through that list of the chakras, is there an abbreviated protocol or way to access the energy of a portal in the moment, in a healing process, or in any process, but I'm thinking about in healing processes, that makes me feel like I know how to aim myself,
Well, I want you to consider that you're always that broad. I mean, our awareness, I think it's a challenge to be aware at 25 different levels. I haven't mastered that. I can be aware at several levels, I know pretty well. But if you just have the idea or just know in your consciousness that when you take yourself into any portal, your total 1 through 25 of you is receiving that healing or that embrace. And it just feels safer. It feels more thorough. It feels more loving to know that. And so I don't do a protocol. It's just the way it always is. We don't have to make it happen. We just allow, but our very being allows that. If you think about it, when I'm having this conversation with you, all 25 of my chakras are being connected with yours and interacting with yours at levels I probably am not aware of, at different times.
Well, as I've been reading and studying through the material and reading about all the different portals, they're so exciting to me. There's so many of them and they're wonderful. And they just bring up all kinds of emotion and feelings and insight. And it's like, I want to be able to utilize the energy of all these wonderful assistive portals, and I'm looking at everything in life now as a portal,
Yes, every object is a portal to someplace.
Yeah. So I want to have the means to do it consciously or mindfully or appropriately or whatever the word is or the verbiage is. And I just wanted more information about that, I guess.
Well, the more you are conscious about what portal you want to be in, the more power you have to affect how you're going to be feeling and what you're going to be experiencing. If heart, our super strength big partnership, will take care of putting you in whatever portal you need to be in. And so if you don't think about it, that's still going on. That's why every person on the planet's evolving, whether they know it or not or like it or not. They're being put in one portal after another or several portals after another. Just like if I decide that my bed is a love pool, that doesn't stop heart from making my bed a forgiveness portal or a shamanic journeying portal or being in the heart of God portal or a bodhisattva portal or in fact, I get kind of mad if I have a bad dream and I know I'm not processing my day-to-day thing. I think, what happened here? What was that?
Hmm.
I woke up angry this morning. I had a dream where nobody was celebrating my birthday. I thought, I know I vibrated all that out years ago, so that's not mine. Where did that come from?
Hmm.
So that was kind of funny.
So Jaentra, is it, my understanding this right, that super strength, whether we're conscious of it or not, is going to place us in a portal that at any given moment or time might be right for us?
Yep,
Okay.
that is true.
Okay.
But not only you and all of us, but I mean every person on the planet gets
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. I understand that part. Okay. Thank you.
And the main being they're reminding me on the other side that really decides that is Earth. Years ago when I wanted everybody to know about practical magic, we set up a website and we had the portal cards on this website. And there was a page that I said the Earth is our port key, which is you touch the Earth, which of course we all do because we're walking on the Earth. Then the Earth will transport you to a portal. From Harry Potter, the goblet that they held on to was a port key to whatever wizard trial that was. I'm not remembering right now. So the Earth is our port key. It's kind of a cool name, isn't it? Made up by the writer of Harry Potter books.
Rowling.
Yeah, right.
J.D. Rowling.
How does that feel to you or sound to you, Claudia? Any kind of little air holes I left out?
Well, I guess I must be pretty process oriented or protocol oriented or because it feels like I'm going to continue to study about them, read about them, experience them, take my consciousness in and out of them to really experience them. But I guess I don't have a sense of how to practically use them.
Okay.
But that's just not, I don't have that yet.
Well, one of the things I think I mentioned is I will pick certain portals and then I will pick an object to represent a person. Like I'll write somebody's name on a piece of paper and then I will put them in those portals all the time.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean if they chose to go in another portal, there wouldn't be another one added because you can be in more than one at once.
Yeah.
So that's a practical thing for people you're concerned about or care about or whatever. There was a time that Clyde and I was eating at Old Country Buffet, and there was a guy at the next table who was force feeding his child. I don't know if it was his child. The child was like 3 or 4-year-old boy, and this boy, if you've ever seen someone try to force a child to eat when he doesn't want to, it's grim. And this child was crying and very traumatized. And I just had a feeling because my core body, I put my core body right inside that guy because I wanted him to feel safe and held on to. And my jewel body told me that if I tried to verbally intervene, that wouldn't be a good idea, that it wouldn't go well. So what I did is I made the table he was sitting at a sweet, gracious help I receive portal. I put him in that portal and put his son in an unconditional love portal through his clothes and, put this guy into a paradigm shift portal with his clothes. And it wasn't very long when this little old lady came over and she sat down and introduced herself and said, she really knew some things about feeding kids. And she said just whatever he needed to hear and diffuse the whole situation. I watched it.
Mm,
You know,
nice.
so it was really powerful, you know, just to create a shift where people get stuck in a, say, a portal of brutality or a portal of lying, which of course I didn't make portal cards for, but those portals exist too.
Yeah. And so when you said that you put it on their clothes
I
what
made,
did
I had the intention that their clothes become that portal.
okay. I didn't quite understand that. Yeah.
Well, you have to make me explain it again then. But I do that when I'm passing a course of traffic accident on the freeway and all of that. And, you know, if I were fundraising for, you know, the Healing Hands Network, you know, create a website for that, I would make the whole website be, you know, not just a unconditional love money portal, but a abundance portal, you know, so.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, and you know, if I make it an abundance portal, let's say a bunch of bad things happen, what my assumption is those bad things are energies that have to be removed so that the abundance portal actually becomes abundant instead of a problem. Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, remembering that most people live in the past, they're not in the here and now. And so,
So Jaentra, I had to unmute myself because we've got some background noise here. I can name anything, uh, any object,
yeah,
right?
right,
And um, then with my intent, because there's intent involved here, right?
right.
That seems like an important part of it. Then with my intent, I can name the portal, right?
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
really all I have to do. It's declare the portal, be clear on my intent, and well, it's a two-step. Is it more than two steps?
No, it's not.
I just have to declare the portal that I want.
Right.
I have to have an object and be clear about my intent.
And I think that portal will stay there until somebody has another intent, like my fantasy. And I probably should go back to wherever that old country buffet is and make all their tables sweet, gracious help I receive. Then I'd be interested in whether they had an uptake and people repeat customers.
Sure.
You know, I think it'd be kind of interesting.
Okay. So, unlike hypnosis, where you have to bring people out of it, this will, the portal will be null and void once somebody sets a different intent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
But if no one sets a different intent, it just remains there.
Yeah, unless Heart decides to take it away. You know,
Okay. Okay.
Heart can always say, I've got a better idea.
And that's out of our hands. That's out of our.
Now, that's not ours to
It's
mess
not
with.
our job. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Now that's helpful.
Okay, so part of what we're going to talk about today is denseness, because the core body is the densest part of us. It's denser than our physical body. And it is so dense that, like the lower chakras, 1 through 8, we can't see those chakras. We can't see our poor core body most of the time, but we can feel it. I'm doing a fascinating, to me, experiment with Kath, who's an 84-year-old woman who has no arm. Her right arm was cut off when she was 10. And I've been doing some healing about that. And I suggested she buy a quartz crystal to hang on that empty armhole. And then I created an etheric arm using the etheric body. I created a body in the jewel body to have an arm. And then I want the core body involved. And my intent is that the invisible arm that she has becomes as attached and as strong as her real physical arm. And what that'll do is it'll balance the way all the muscles are held in her back and in her shoulder and her neck.
Mm.
So I'm really curious about how that'll do, you know, how that'll work and how long it'll take for her to feel it. So I've got a active experiment with the core, especially the core body going on, since it's denser than her physical body. I don't know why we can't do that. And I think it's a matter of being creative. All of us, you know, we're discovering more and more things that the portals and dimensions can do for us. And this is one of the things.
Why did your jewel body have to be involved? I guess I don't understand.
Because it's an extra body, and it would add some extra denseness. The denser that invisible arm is, the better. And probably, and I know I made sure the astral body had an arm like that too.
Okay, that makes sense.
Dual body and the core body, I want them to stay there, you know, till that arm is more corporeal than it is now.
Okay.
So, but I'm, you know, started thinking about all the veterans who come home and, you know, they don't have limbs and things. Wouldn't that be an exciting thing to be able to do for them? So anyway, back to the core body. It's really, really dense, and its home, birthplace in our energy field is the first chakra, the foundation chakra. And the foundation chakra for us is the heart of the earth. It's the same as the heart of the earth. So we are one with earth when we're in there. And we really have our awareness in there, and it is completely deep and stable. There's nothing stronger than being one with the very core of the earth for us, I don't think. And part of what that permeates, that energy permeates the core body completely, so that if I'm in my core body, I feel so stable. So I lots of times want to be aware of my core body because I like how grounded I feel. It's like an instant grounding thing. And I like how I feel, just like nothing bad can happen to me. It's a really nice feeling of safety. And safety is one of the core body's really important jobs. The core body has the heart of our intuition in it. So if we have the more we listen to that, what they say, small voice, actually the core body yells too. That definite internal you voice that says, do this, don't do that. You know, I've got a bad feeling about this, as they talk about in Star Wars all the time. That core body is all about safety and all about furthering your agenda to help you navigate in the world in a healthy way. You know, and when I used to drive, I would think about 2 or 3 routes that I could take going from here to there, and then I would feel which one should I take. You know, I'd make a decision based on how I'd feel. That would be invoking my core body intuition. My core body, you know, sees and knows everything that's going on around me. And I've never had anyone attack me, but my understanding is if someone decided to mug me, I would probably never know, because my core body is so dense that if need be, my core body would beat that person up, just flatten them. You know, that we would not, you know, that by knowing, it's about consciousness, of course, partly. But I think that core body could do that for anybody, especially if we're talking about a child or somebody who's a vulnerable adult. There's a big protection with the core body. And that doesn't mean I still, like right today, I probably, if I were downtown St. Paul, I'd make sure someone would walk me to my car at this time of night. You know, I'm not saying I wouldn't do what I know to do. in situations to keep myself safe. But I remember being in a workshop at St. Elizabeth's Hospital in Washington, D.C., and I was there all day, and they had us go out a door, not the same door we came in, and I had to find my dormitory, which was somewhere, and St. Elizabeth's Hospital is a huge campus. And I had to stop, put my feet on the earth, and I said, you've got to help me find where I'm living. And so I just took a deep breath, and I took my next step where I felt I was in the right direction, and I walked right to my dormitory. So I've always been connected to earth, but now you don't have to think, oh, Jaentra can do that, but I can't do that. You can do that. You've got a core body now, and your core body, it's not just a psychic ability. Your core body is giving you ability. You have to wake up. So what I'm saying is you have to wake up to abilities that you have that you don't know you have. That's why I'm talking to you about it. I'll pause there a minute and see if you have any reactions to that.
Well, always to me, the important first step is an awareness. We have the core body, knowing that, and then invoking it, right?
Yeah, right.
Because you stepped out of that door and you needed some support, some direction. And so, I don't know if it's a matter of the core body is always there at the ready, correct? I mean, it's just always available.
Mm-hmm.
That's true, right?
Right.
So
there.
Oh, okay. So that is a very practical thing. You can just call on it, and I'm guessing from what you're saying that one of the indicators that we've tapped in is the small voice.
Yeah. It's also that feeling of being
or
safe.
shout. You said.
Yeah. She does shout sometimes. And you can manufacture another core body to be around people you love. I know when Clyde had open heart surgery, I sent my core body, not the one that keeps me safe, but a duplicate. And my core body was laid with him on the operating table and was operated on. And then when I was waiting in the waiting room, I could feel how he was doing. Was there a problem? Was there, how did he feel? And it was really fascinating for me to do that. And even if you say, oh, I can't really imagine being aware of that. Oh, even if you can't, and you've got somebody you care about who's undergoing a procedure of some kind, share your core body with them and see, make a duplicate core body for your kids and your loved ones and really anybody that you care about, and find out how they're doing.
So this isn't like sending out your double, right?
No, it's not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's a way of making sure your loved ones feel much less abandonment. I can't speak for how somebody else feels necessarily, but you can say, I have to ask Clyde if he felt he wouldn't know. He'd undergone some surgeries without my core body. Maybe he could compare. I don't know. But I know we can do that and feel if somebody's safe or not. I think also the core body helps us find our lost objects and helps us find lost people. Like if you lost your kid in Kmart, your core body would help you find that kid. And you imagine, a map or a grid of the whole store, north, south, east, or west, and then you start walking toward where you think that feeling is of where your child is. So you're trusting your emotions more deeply than you ever have before when you're dealing with your core body. Your core body is also your well of knowledge, or your Akashic record is what it's called. Your core body is your historical storehouse of every experience you've had. Every experience that you've had this lifetime and every other lifetime. And the more connection you have with your core body, the more you're going to be able to remember things that you did in other lifetimes, whether how you cooked, or how you did a job. I remember the first time I used saffron and mangoes in a seafood recipe, and I realized I was cooking like I had when I lived in Polynesia. So I really surrendered to it. So it was like my core body, my invisible bodies were trying to teach me. So I suppose part of it is utilizing your imagination and deciding that, if you have a problem with feeling entitled, I guess that you're entitled to know these things, and your core body has kept these memories for you. Or say, you grew up in a very unique way that wasn't very good. I think I can say to my core body, I have thoroughly explored all the memories of sexual abuse and from my childhood. What I want is for you to keep those in storage for me and make sure that I'm not stimulated in the here and now by them, like store them deeply away from me. So you can have some influence over your storage. And then ask your core body, like you're having a conversation with yourself, is there anything more I have to learn from that? And really open your heart to see if your core body says, yes, you do, or no, you don't. So you can kind of see how far, if you need to do any more archaeological digging, great. I watched a movie, and I know Pierce Broadman. I don't know if I'm saying that right.
Rossman? I don't know.
Yeah, he was in it, and it was about Panama, and there was he was being waterboarded in this movie, and people were speaking a lot of Spanish. I think I've had a lot of Spanish lifetimes in North America, and South America, I mean. I have no desire to travel there, and I know that those are memories that I've had. And they were all, whenever I watch a movie like that, then I'll dream about torture in South America for a night or two. So I'm still processing that. But after I went to that movie, my friends and I went to the Dairy Queen, and there was a woman there who was speaking Spanish and trying to get the man behind the counter to understand what she wanted to eat. And he turned to me and looked at me and said, "What does she want?" And I knew this was some kind of a time warp. He had no reason to know whether I spoke Spanish or not. And I said the first thing that came to my mind. I said, "She wants a strawberry shortcake." So he gave her a strawberry shortcake, and she thanked me in Spanish. I think this world is a strange place. But I think, all kinds of things can happen to us.
Yeah.
Things are never what they seem. There's the actual experience, and then there's experience under the experience. And I enjoy going down the rabbit hole. And so the core body is a really fun rabbit hole to go down. Can be. So you can find out. You can see somebody across the room and say, have I ever been in a past life with them? You don't even have to muscle test it. You can just kind of open your heart and go, oh, yeah, I guess I did. That person looks familiar to me. That's all core body stuff. So the core body is born in the foundation chakra, and it's one with all the chakras. So when your core body is one with the 25th chakra, the one about rainbow consciousness, you have enlightenment. It's kind of interesting. I also think you have enlightenment when the jewel body, the really fast light electric body, is one with the foundation chakra. Then you're really expanding yourself. So, you know, when I'm playing around, Claudia, I play around with where my bodies are and breathe into how I'm feeling and learning about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're vast, huge, very complex and wonderful individuals, you know, and the most important object we own is our body. That's why we started with the chakras in the body first.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to take a little detour, and I had Clyde email you. Clyde, why don't you get that picture out for everybody to see? I had Clyde email you the object, the power object I made to keep myself and everybody safe in my car. Because sometimes I don't know whether the detail really shows up on this Zoom call the way I'd like it to. It was an infinity symbol. You know, it was a hook that you hook a plant to. And then the infinity symbol, I filled it in with all 33 of the rocks are in there in very small sizes. And that saddle you see on top was a ring I found in an antique store. And I thought a saddle is a travel, you know, like you ride a horse and you don't always, you know, like you're riding in your car. So I thought that was perfect. And I chose the infinity symbol because our body has the miracle tube around it, just to remind you. You know, the bottom part of the tube wraps around the earth. The upper part of the tube wraps around the moon. And then the saddle is right on the navel where the wave goes in and out and back and forth. And we have the wave is like a Mobius strip that travels around the moon and the earth. And so what I'm creating is a Mobius strip, a miracle tube for my car. So my car is always one with the being of life, with the earth and with the moon and the gravitational support of them to keep safe. So when you make it, one of the things is I'm hoping you're willing to do during this class, if you have the time, is make a power object of some kind. It doesn't have to be for your car. Claudia and I were talking before class. She came a little early. We were talking about you like the idea of having a safety object in your car.
Mm-hmm.
I know you said that to me.
Yeah.
So, and gemstones are, of course, the second most powerful objects we can have, because it's like having pieces of earth with us. But if you think about it, everything is part of earth, whether it's a piece, you know, a piece of plastic that's part of the oil of earth, or, you know, a piece of wood, which is part of the trees that are the earth's children, you know. So I don't think it matters what you make your power object out of. You know, you can make it out of anything. You can draw it, you can embroider it, you can paint it, you can do whatever you want. But the intent is the important thing, that you really have an intent to not just make your car safe, but make the power object, whatever power object you make, connected with your body and with the earth. So I suggest, you know, since I've already made an infinity symbol, and we already have an infinity symbol around you, that if you're going to make a car object, I'd suggest you consider using an infinity symbol of some kind to do it. Any questions about making a power object? I feel like I should stop for your feedback a little bit here. One of my I was working with Lynn Woodland's husband. He had lymphoma, and she was driving me around, since I don't see well enough to drive, and she was driving our car, and she started speeding, and I couldn't get her to stop speeding. And I said, "What is with you and speeding? Stop already." She said, "I feel like I'm flying. I feel like this is the best car I've ever driven. I feel so wonderful." I said, "Pull over and stop." And then I showed her the object and told her what she was responding to. She wasn't used to feeling that safe in a car.
Mm.
So don't go crazy if you create a power object like she did. She did stop then speeding. She realized that what she was doing. I've not succeeded at all the power objects I've created. I think I tried to create a power object that would stop the mice from coming into my house. Did not work. I ended up buying one of those power objects you spend $45 for that emits a high noise so that the mice don't want to come in. So I think it was an object that responded more to my mouse's biology. So not everything that does.
Well, I like the idea of doing, I certainly do, a power object. I just wish that, I mean, I loved your gems, but you know how to do the windows, so.
Right, I got those skills.
Yeah, you've got that skill set. So it'll be interesting. I really like the idea of course, including gems. I mean, that's, yeah, stones.
Yeah, and
I'm also interested in having it be beautiful.
You're also interested in what?
Having it be beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's important to have those.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know whether Deb would make any of you that. I trained Deb in how to do stained glass, and I would oversee her. But when I made a couple of those power objects for people's cars, but I made them always pick the gems, in the ring, and, because that way they own the colors they want,
Sure.
and the design they want. So that's important. I can't remember who, I think it was Julie last class. She made a power object to tell herself that she was important. She realized that she had a problem with feeling entitled to receiving things, that she didn't think she was important. So she went to one of those craft places and bought a mirror, and then the mirror had some kind of, I don't know whether you'd call it like ceramic-y thing, where you can put objects, she put stones and stuff around the mirror, and then hung it in her hallway so that every time she walked by, she was like reminded that she was important, that she was that way. I did that with a picture I had of myself as a 3.5-year-old, which I have next to my massage table, reminding me that how wonderful my little girl inside is, and how special I am. So power objects are imbued with your intent, with your emotions, with your want. And that's why if you watch who's that famous Japanese lady she says, if it doesn't give you joy, get rid of it.
Oh, Marie Kondo. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Right. So she's without knowing and talking about every object being a way to a dimension or a portal, she's kind of wise, with all that. I certainly don't keep power objects around that are, or any object around that has hurt me or that has hurt anybody else. I had somebody tell me they really wanted to teach my classes, and that during that conversation, she ended up standing at the foot of my stairs, of the stairs that goes upstairs to my room, and there's a small shelf above her head that had a Buddha on it. And I am not sure how, but that Buddha fell off that shelf and hit her in the head.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So what do you think that would mean? Do you think she ever came through and actually learned to teach?
No.
No,
No.
not so much.
Yeah.
And then I found somebody to give that Buddha to. I got the message. I appreciated my objects communicating with me like that. Then I gave that object away, to somebody else. I'm
So,
not-
so I have a question for you, Jaentra, about, so I make my power object, and my intent is that it be a reminder to send out my core body to others. I didn't know I could do that, frankly. So I'm learning that. That's a new thing for me to learn tonight.
All right.
So, and that's perfectly fine. I can have a power object as a reminder.
You can.
Send my core body out to others.
Yeah.
Right?
Right. You can.
Cool. All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did not know. I did not realize we could do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're only limited, I think, by our imagination,
Then
which is,
totally cool.
it's very totally cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, lots of times people, we think we've got to have, we want to have psychic power, right? We want to have the voices talk to us, and we want to know what the future holds. I think that right now our objects are our best, what do you want to say? Psychic communicators. They'd let us know, like, we knew that that woman wasn't going to end up teaching my classes. If I'm in the kitchen and I drop a glass and break it, that's not an event. I mean, that is a communication for me, between me and the unseen world. And I'm going to see if I can figure out what, object breaking, that's violence. That's some kind of hurt. Am I creating hurt, or is somebody going to hurt me? Or, you just let your imagination play around with that and see what you find out.
Well, and when you mentioned that, this happened a number of years ago, but I came home. This was when I was living in Minnesota, and in one day, 3 of my wall art pieces, my paintings, fell off the wall.
That is a communication.
And that is a huge communication. And it was, I thought it was frightening too. I mean, I didn't understand it. Just throughout the day, 3 of them came off. And, you just simply have to pay attention. There was no other thing to do about that.
That's your core body shouting. What did you figure out?
And that was a shock. What came to me is that there was an energy in the house that was disruptive and that was not welcome. So I had to set about to get that energy out. And I did, but it took some doing. So, but once it was gone, it was gone. And I'm somebody who really likes those very strong messages. I probably miss plenty of subtle ones. You can't miss 3 things falling off your walls.
No,
So,
you can't.
No.
It's subtle, not so much. It's like
Yeah.
in your face.
Yeah, it was in my face. That was a shout.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, anyway. The other thing about objects is we found that people who start really being in tune with objects will find objects disappear and reappear. Barb Hammett's really good at that. She lost a pair of earrings when she was like 20 years ago, and all of a sudden she and her grandson were playing on the floor of their cabin up north that hadn't even been built 20 years ago. And they found the earrings in the floor, kind of stuck in a floorboard, and then the other one next to it. So where they would been all those 20 years, we don't know. She has a lot of those stories. So you might find that you really lost something, or you might find that it's gone for a while and back it comes. I had all kinds of messages about me being part of the being that was Isis during the ancient times on the earth. And so when I was in Egypt, I bought an Isis brooch at an antique store. So I think it was probably made in the 50s or 40s. It wasn't that old, but it was nice, and it was brass. And I had taken it, put it on a dress, and had taken the dress to a dry cleaner. Then I realized it was on the dry cleaning dress and called them, and they said, no, we don't have it. And so I lost it shortly after I got back from that Egypt trip. And then, of course, I had moved several times. I had gotten married. I bought this house, and my house helper, Sabrina, and I were going to do some repair on some beads I'd made for around my head. And we opened a box I'd never been in for a while, and there was the brooch.
Wow.
That was over 20 years. If that was 1986, and that was like 6 years ago. So that brooch, I ended up putting on my healing table on the quilt that's on top of the healing table, and made it part of that healing table because Isis was a goddess of healing. And I think that's a pretty strong message that I maybe had been out of touch with her ancient power, and now I'm not. Who knows? Some good message for healing. So we live in that kind of world where things are never what they seem. Help me with what time it is, Clyde.
8:50.
Time to us to do our little meditation. Okay, core body. So take a deep breath and maybe put a hand on your heart and a hand on your navel. And I feel like saying, let's start by being grateful that life is so interesting. And there's so much to be curious about. And there's so much meaning in everything. And that meaning and that stuff to be curious about just gives us a huge foundation to feel joy. And then take another deep breath and welcome joy as a common experience that you deserve to have. Every time you feel a magical possibility where you think, oh, I do want to send my core body out to everybody that I care about. Oh, I want to make another core body of mine for them. So I always feel them and connect with them. Oh, I want to be safe in my car. I'm going to make something for my car. Oh, I want people to feel welcome in my house. I'm going to make a core body, a core power object that every time they walk in, that's the first thing they see. And it fills them with love. You can create your environment to be what you'd like it to be, what you want it to be. And your core body remembers every lifetime what you've made, what skills you had. And your core body could lead you to objects maybe you once owned or were like objects you once owned. You say, oh, I have to have that. I'm not sure why. And then let yourself give yourself a meaning for it. So take another deep breath and have an intent to broaden your mind, expand your awareness. And then start at the first chakra where the core body lives. That is the foundation, the absolute center of the earth. And then we'll quickly go up to all 25 of them. So we have soul purpose, safety and security, heart of hearts, new DNA, water, the grid, the I am that I am, the earth, that's the 9th. The 10th is the root, 11 sacrum, 12 solar plexus, 13 heart center. We're halfway to 25 now. 14, 15, 16, heaven's mystery, 17, oneness. Now we're at the home of the jewel body. So we have her jump along with us. 18, spirit connection, 19, journeying, 20, extended senses, 21, soul connection, 22, source connection, 23, union, 24, galactic center, 25, rainbow consciousness. So focus on rainbow consciousness. Now drop your awareness back down to the foundation. Then bring your awareness back up through those chakras really fast, faster than I could say them, to the 25th, to rainbow consciousness. Can you feel the rainbow consciousness getting denser? Now bring it back down to the foundation. And bring your foundation up to the 25th chakra. The 25th chakra is getting denser. Then you bring that down to the foundation chakra, and the foundation chakra is getting brighter and lighter. Then you go up to the rainbow consciousness. And then you go down to foundation. You can let that play in your heart. You can feel your heart expanding in the foundation. And you go back up to the rainbow consciousness and feel how solid that is. Oh, that's getting more solid. Amazing. What if that were part of our inner core? Oh, it is. I'll take a breath and go back down to the foundation. That's really strange. It's both light and dark. Wow. Now go back up to the rainbow consciousness. It almost feels the same as the foundation chakra. Who knew? Let's put both of those chakras right in our heart, our physical heart, our 13th chakra. And imagine your hand traveling through those chakras. Wonder what your hand would feel. It would feel light and dark and dense and electric and movement and stable, very stable. Give me permission to play with who I am, expand who I am, and solidify who I am. And then remember, the top heart, that 15th chakra, the third eye, that is the knowledge that we are the light. The light is within us. The light moves throughout us. The light surrounds us. The light protects us. We are the light. And then move down to the middle heart, the 13th chakra, where the knowing is. We do unto others as we wish others to do with us, to do unto us. And then we drop down to the 11th chakra, the sacral chakra, the heart of the will heart, in the knowing there that forgive everybody, everything. So we take those knowledges that we are the light, do unto others, forgive everybody, everything, and infuse that knowledge into our foundation. And then up into our rainbow consciousness. Oh, that feels so much stabler. Is that a word? Down to our foundation. Up to the rainbow. Let us know that when we sleep tonight, we can think rainbow, foundation, foundation, rainbow. Much better than counting sheep. And then what you've done, when you go back and forth and back and forth, is you're becoming one with your thrum. Your thrum is that pulse of your miracle tube. Your miracle tube that has that 8, that infinity symbol going through it. That's the beat. Thrum, thrum, thrum. Rainbow, foundation, foundation, rainbow. It's like your wave rocks you all night long. It also rocks you all day long. You're never alone. Okay, take another deep breath and look at each other and say, I'm grateful. Thank you. I'm going to see you next Monday just because I want to get us back into the schedule that we were on before I had to stop it. I had a wonderful time with you all tonight.
Thank you, Jaentra.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jaentra.
Thank you.
Night, everyone.
Good night.
I
Night.